Hey there YouTube, Wrestlin' Optimus here, back with my review of Money in the Bank 2023, live from the O2 Arena in London, England. It was an action-packed night with tons of surprises, so enough talk, let's just head straight down to the action figure drawers. Opening the show is the men's Money in the Bank ladder match featuring LA Knight, Shinsuke Nakamura, Damian Priest, Butch, Santos Escobar, Ricochet, and Logan Paul. My one criticism is that 7 guys is too many, because people have to sit idly by in order to allow for other people's spots. But anyway, Butch got a fantastic response from his hometown crowd and put on a really great performance, including a number of memorable spots, but ultimately fell short. Meanwhile, Shinsuke and Santos did their job of providing athletic bodies to put on a wild show, but they never had any real chance of winning. Now before you ask, yes, I did buy the Logan Paul figure, but it hasn't arrived yet. And for anyone questioning that, let me point to this match. Look, you can hate Logan Paul all you want, and believe me, this crowd sure did. But at this point, you cannot deny how ridiculously good he is at pro wrestling. Not only did he once again produce most of the highlights in this match, second only to maybe Ricochet, but most of the match was literally built around the real wrestlers ganging up on the YouTuber. Not to mention, he was getting some of the loudest crowd reactions, second only to maybe LA Knight. Speaking of which, oh my gosh is he over in the UK. They desperately wanted him to win this match, and nearly exploded when it looked like he would. But alas, your winner after not actually doing much is Damian Priest, who will apparently go by Senor Money in the Bank. Later, he hinted that he could go for any title, including mid-card belts. Is that a shot at Austin Theory, or just a cover for him? Next up is a match I wasn't exactly looking forward to, as the women's tag team titles are on the line. Current champions Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey, who came out dressed as a Saiyan from Dragon Ball Z, complete with Majin symbol on her forehead, took on former champs Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan, who is dressed as Ginger Spice. You can tell that Shayna and Ronda aren't just trying to get themselves over, they're actively trying to rehab the whole women's tag division by giving competitive matches to teams that realistically fans wouldn't expect to beat them. Were my thoughts before holy shit, Shayna turned on Ronda. What the fuck? She started beating the crap out of her best friend and championship tag team partner. A confused Raquel takes advantage with the Tejada Bomb, and an equally confused Liv hits the Oblivion to become your new, undisputed women's tag team champions. We'll definitely have to keep an eye on where this heel turn goes moving forward. But continuing on, the Intercontinental Championship is on the line next as Gunther defends against Matt Riddle. And right off the bat, we get a progress reference from Michael Cole on commentary. Now, I'm pretty sure that WWE wants Gunther to break the Honky Tonk Man's record for longest Intercontinental title reign, so until he does, it's pretty obvious that whoever challenges him is going to lose, no matter how worthy or deserving. Sure enough, after a typically brutal match, befitting of Riddle's MMA background, Gunther sinks in an ankle lock on Riddle's injured foot to get the submission victory and retain his title. When hold up, ignore what I just said earlier, Drew McIntyre is finally back after an extended absence and rumors of him leaving WWE altogether. Well then, this night is just full of surprises, isn't it? He stares down the champ and delivers a Claymore. Maybe the ring general won't be breaking that record after all. Speaking of rumors, most sources claimed that Cody Rhodes vs Dominik Mysterio was going to main event, but it turns out they actually went on in the middle of the card. Cody Rhodes' burial to the mid-card confirmed? In all seriousness, these men got some of the biggest reactions of the night for their entrances, and they perfectly played off their respective conquering babyface and chicken shit heel archetypes, with Mysterio running away, hiding behind Rhea, and cheating at every opportunity, while Cody was forced to overcome with superior skill. Eventually, after lots of shenanigans, the American Nightmare blocks a 619, then hits a disaster kick, a Cody cutter, and a crossroads to pick up the win. Next up, we get John Cena. He comes out and panders to the London crowd while criticizing the suits who think of raucous crowds, like in the UK, as distracting. Then, he says he's really here to try and convince those same suits to bring WrestleMania to London. I wonder if this has anything to do with AEW nearly selling out Wembley. But just as the crowd starts cheering for this possibility, Grayson Waller of all people interrupts. He gets booed out of the building for saying WrestleMania should really go to Australia. And when Cena says no to that idea, Waller attacks him from behind, only to get an AA for his troubles. And now it's time for the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, featuring Bayley, Io Sky, Zelina Vega, Zoe Stark, Trish Stratus, and Becky Lynch dressed as Jean Grey's Phoenix from X-Men. Spoiler alert, this was one of the best women's Money in the Bank ladder matches ever, particularly the finish. But first, because it's the UK, we're serenaded by Hey Bayley, even though she's a heel. In contrast to the men's version earlier in the night, the 6-person format is so much more manageable, but still allows for lots of fun spots using the ladders, like submissions, dives, and slams. Also, there's a lot more cooperation in this match compared to the men's version because 4 of the 6 women are in groups with each other. Bayley and Io are in damage control, while Zoe Stark is Trish Stratus' protege. And speaking of that, at one point, Zoe Stark gets out some handcuffs, but she can only manage to get one side of them attached to Becky Lynch. Then, with the handcuffs still attached, Becky manages to take out both her and Trish. Meanwhile, back in the ring, Bayley turns on Io just as she's about to win, although she does seem conflicted about it. However, Bayley stops her from winning only to wind up handcuffed to Bayley between the rungs of the ladder by Io. With her opponents incapacitated, she literally climbs over Bayley and becomes Miss Money in the Bank. Now we move on to the World Heavyweight title match between defending champion Seth Rollins and challenger Finn Balor. Let me just start by saying the crowd singing Seth's song is really getting annoying, and I wish audiences would just stop doing it, at least for as long as they have been recently. But anyway, this was by far the most technical match of the card, so if you're one of those people into work rate, this was definitely the match for you. When Damian Priest comes out with his briefcase and ominously sits in the timekeeper's area, distracting both the champ and his Judgment Day teammate. To that point, a slight hesitation by Finn causes him to miss the coup de grace and get nailed by a stomp. Your winner and still World Heavyweight Champion, Seth freaking Rollins. Balor and Priest argue afterwards, sowing more seeds of dissension amongst the Judgment Day. Apparently, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are watching tonight's festivities from a luxury box, so they're interviewed by Kayla Braxton. Sami predicts that tonight, Roman will finally get what's coming to him. Which brings us to the main event, as Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa take on the Usos. Full transparency, I watched the Usos' entire entrance to see how the crowd responded, which was positive. Then I fast-forwarded 9 minutes and the match still hadn't started. Just like with Seth's entrance, Roman's absolutely needs to be cut down. The crowd chants "Tribal Wanker," as well as singing "If you hate Roman, stand up," while giving him a standing ovation. This is why I love UK crowds. Throughout the match, there's lots of moments where Solo seems very conflicted about following his cousin instead of his brothers. At one point, in a kind of pep talk, Paul Heyman asks Roman, "Do you want your sons sitting at his table?" while pointing at Jimmy Uso. This fires up Reigns as he goes on the offensive. Predictably, the ref gets knocked down, so even after hitting Roman with a 1D, the Usos only get a visual pinfall. They go for a double Uso splash, but they're stopped by Solo. After taking out Jay, Roman and Solo hit Jimmy with a combination spear Samoan spike just in time for the ref to wake up. But they waste time stacking the Usos on top of each other, allowing them to kick out at 2.9. Solo misses a splash onto the commentary desk, taking himself out and giving the Usos a 2-on-1 advantage. Jay kicks out of a spear, and taking a page from Reigns' playbook, hits Roman in the balls while doing so. That stuns Reigns long enough for the Usos to hit a double super kick, then Jay nails a splash, and manages to do the seemingly impossible, pinning Roman clean for the first time in 3.5 years. That's since December 2019. Some people are already calling this one of the best Money in the Bank pay-per-views ever, and frankly, it's hard to argue with that. Although there wasn't a shock return or big surprise in the main event, other than Roman getting pinned, there were plenty of big surprises throughout the night, like Shayna's heel turn and the return of Drew McIntyre, which helped make otherwise boring matches like the women's tag title match or the Intercontinental Championship match incredibly memorable. Couple that with all the things we were already excited for, like Money in the Bank matches, Cody vs. Dominic, and the Samoan Civil War, add in that insane UK crowd, and
baby, you got a stew going.
So in conclusion, if I had to rate it, I'd say 5 stars, A+, 10 out of 10, whatever metric you want to use. And let's not forget how incredible Forbidden Door was last weekend. Wrestling fans really are spoiled right now. Maybe instead of arguing, we can all just enjoy and appreciate what we have. Alright, that'll do it for Money in the Bank 2023. Let me know what you thought about the show in the comments down below. And if you liked the video, make sure to do all that normal YouTube stuff. Smash the like button, share with any wrestling or action figure fans you may know, subscribe to the channel, and spread the word. You can also talk to me over on Twitter at WrestlingOptimus, or see all my best figure photography over on Instagram at WrestlingOptimus. If you haven't seen my latest video, it should be on screen now. But until next time, I've been Wrestling Optimus, and I'll catch you later.